You know, as we land in retirement, we tell ourselves that we crave less structure. Part of that could be a way to just step away from your old routines. But what you might not know is that can be really dangerous.
It can. And entering retirement and not having any routines at all, you're going to feel lost and rudderless. It's going to happen. And this lost feeling that you have can create a day filled with anxiety, poor sleep, poor eating habits, and poor physical and mental wellness.
Almost just overall lethargic feeling,
it's
right?
Scary.
It is scary.
Yeah.
And we have some clients that are experiencing this.
Yep.
You know, if it continues for a long period of time, it can actually shorten your life.
Yeah. So why would you want to do that? I know you don't want to do that.
Nobody really wants to do that. But the idea that we put in everyone's head is you enter retirement and you should have no routine and every day should be a Saturday.
I was about to say that. We have people that we knew 10 years before retirement, 5 years. It's great. Every day is like a Saturday. And we couldn't wait for that. Saturdays, you didn't really have a routine. Maybe play golf, but you know what?
Well, if you were a working mom, Saturdays were filled with errands.
That's true. Okay.
So I don't want every day to be a Saturday for sure.
We have a client we're working with. He recently retired because of downsizing at his old firm. It wasn't his choice.
And that's happening a lot now, post-COVID and this time. We're seeing a lot of people be forced into retirement, so they're not mentally prepared.
Right. But it's been about 4 years, and he's really struggling because he doesn't necessarily want to go back to work, but he wants to do something during the day, whatever it might be. Now, as part of his retirement, he knew how important it was for him to have a morning routine.
Which is great, because a lot of people don't cling to that.
But he still gets up early.
With routine.
He exercises, he does some reading, he has breakfast. He's been doing that same routine for the 40 years of his career, and he's still doing it now.
But where he runs into trouble is he gets all of that done by 7:30 in the morning.
Like he used to in his job.
So he would normally then head off to work and not get home until 6 p.m. And his day was filled with routine at work.
Yeah. So he's struggling. He wants to work or volunteer or something, but he just doesn't know how to do that. So we're taking him through our one-on-one coaching program, and we're making great progress. He's starting to see he's okay with habits, but he's starting to figure out what it is he wants to do with the rest of his life.
But it's hard.
Yep.
And it takes some time, and you go on and off the rails as you try to get there. But putting in the work will yield a retirement that you will desire.
Right. So what we're going to do today is walk you through 5 strategies to help you develop some new routines in retirement. Now, we talked last week, and we'll put the notes below, on the importance of habits and making them part of your routine. But today is really about routine. So strategy number 1.
And stick with this, because under each strategy we put a lot of information. So we will try to call out each strategy and then stick with what's happening within each of them.
But strategy number 1 is to focus on the things you can control, which is your own behaviors. There's a lot of things you can't control, but you can control your own behaviors. And that might mean setting a time to go to bed every night.
I knew you were going to work that in.
Well, listen, I go to bed every night at 10 o'clock. Now,
regardless of whether you're here for dinner or not.
That's not true.
It is true.
But I try to go to bed at 10 because I get up at 5.
You do.
I get up at 5.
And there's a lot of science behind that.
There is.
Protecting that time.
So I get up at 5 every day. So working backwards, I really need to go to bed around 10.
Right.
So we set a time for our meals now. We set a time for exercise. That way it happens.
And all of that is completely in your control. And then you will feel more in control.
That's right.
And anytime you feel more in control, you feel more productive.
Right. There's nothing worse than waking up in the morning and saying, what the heck am I going to do today?
Right, exactly.
So that leads to strategy number 2. And we do this in the morning when we have our coffee together. Take time for some reflection. Take some time to plan your day. I mean, sit and look at your schedule. How are you filling your day now? I mean, write down what it is you do on a typical day. And are your weekdays different than your weekends?
And for any of those of you who have dieted in the past, it's interesting when you actually write down what you plan on filling your day with, almost like
Right.
when you had to catalog or
All the food.
categorize all the food you're eating,
Right.
every morsel,
Yeah.
every mint, every piece of gum. And you started to realize either it was a good day or a bad
Yeah.
day when you write it down.
So basically, you want to deconstruct your day.
Right.
Look at the last week. Go back last week and look at every single day. And if you really don't want to do it that way, then going forward, start keeping track of what you do every day for the next 5 days. And listen,
This will actually also call out some of your habits.
It will.
You'll start to see some kind of thread of what habits you have.
and we have friends and clients say they get up, they have coffee, they read the paper, and they're not really sure what to do, so they turn on the TV. And then all of a sudden it's noon and it's time for lunch. Do you know that the average number of hours that people over 65 watch TV, the average number of hours, it's 38 hours of TV a week.
It almost takes over your full-time
Yeah.
job that you
Now,
just retired from.
That's true. We watch TV, but we plan it, and it's
Right.
not 38 hours. There's
No.
no way.
No.
But we plan it.
We do have days where we,
Yeah.
like a rainy day, watch a movie in the
Right.
middle of the day, which kind of feels a little wild
Right.
for us. But yeah,
And you're going to know if you're not doing well.
you are.
Right?
You are. You'll have indicators like,
Right.
is your sleep sporadic?
Right.
Are you going to bed at different times every night?
Yeah.
Are you eating poorly, and are you eating at times that maybe don't work for you anymore?
Right, right.
Again, listening to your body during this, it takes effort.
A lot of effort. And we did a YouTube episode recently. We'll put that down in the notes. All the effort it takes in retirement. This just doesn't happen by itself.
Right.
So, anyway, and by the way, if you guys are finding this information helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, and better yet, share it with a friend or two. So strategy number 3, oversimplified, make a daily to-do list, just like when you were working.
I know people aren't going to like that one.
Well, no, because it sounds mundane and stupid
Yeah.
and obvious, but
Yeah.
it is obvious and it's helpful.
Right, right. And collaborate on how to add, I'm a big proponent of fun. As you're looking at your
Yeah.
to-do list, did you add any fun into the day? Or
Right.
is it just all, chores and activities that you kind of
We just
dread?
decided 2 minutes ago we're going out to lunch. We're going to walk down the street and go to lunch. We didn't plan that. It's spontaneous, but we're filming this morning with this would be really fun to go out to lunch. So you can do it any number of
Sure,
ways.
you can use a diary or a calendar or a day planner if you're,
Yeah.
one of those people. Or if you like doing it electronically, you can do it electronically.
Sure.
You can set calendar reminders. I mean, there's a whole host of ways that
But
you can track these.
Write down, for instance, the top 5 things you want to do. Phone calls you need to make, or errands you need to do, or house chores.
I'd like to see your list of errands.
Okay.
Because mine's often a lot longer than yours.
Okay,
I
but
think.
my house chores is longer.
Maybe.
So there's this thing that happens when you cross something off a to-do list. Your brain releases neurotransmitters. And the feel-good, happy neurotransmitter is dopamine. So every time you cross something off the to-do list, you get this splurge of dopamine, and you feel great. I'm sure you know about
Is
that
splurge
feeling.
a technical term?
Yeah, splurge of dopamine. Is it a splurge?
I don't think
now,
so.
Maybe you knew this already, but that feeling you get when you look at the list and you got 4 out of 5 things done, you feel great.
Yeah.
That's the dopamine surging through your body. The more items you do, the better you feel.
All right, so let's move to strategy number 4. Set aside time in your day to plan and do things that are good for you.
Right.
So not just the chores and errands that we were just joking
Things
about.
for yourself. My favorite term, self-care.
Yes, and you're good.
I am good
You
at
are
self-care.
really good
because
at
then
it.
I'm better for you when I'm taking care of myself, right?
Yeah, and it might be, reading something that you're really interested in. It might be walking, getting some fresh air,
Right.
going into nature. It might be connecting with an old friend. It might be a massage,
We get massages every other week, right?
Yeah, we've been a little remiss lately.
We have, but
I
normally
do have
we
to
do.
say. Yeah.
And that's important to us. And we have a couple of TV shows that we like. And
Right.
that's before we go to bed at night, we'll watch an hour of TV and we watch a show together. That's self-care. We have our coffee time in the morning and then a little bit of TV at night. So anyway, for me, it's putting in my headphones with some nice music and gardening or doing home repairs. That to me is self-care.
Yeah,
It's
you really do enjoy
mindfulness.
that.
I do. It just kind of gets me away from everything.
So strategy number 5,
Right.
reflect and make changes as you need in your
Right.
routine. You know, in retirement, the best thing is you can be flexible.
Right.
You can be fluid. You can experiment with
Yeah.
your routine. Figure out what works for you and what doesn't work for you and make those adjustments.
Yeah, this is key to really be able to, if you do something 3 days in a row, you don't like your routine, change it.
Right.
But make sure you have a routine. You know, Jody and I live a pretty structured life in retirement because it makes us feel in control. It makes us feel organized. It makes us feel healthy.
And some of our friends comment on it quite a bit.
Yeah, like why are you guys so committed?
Even our kids.
Yeah, like you guys are so organized in retirement. Well, you know, a day doesn't go by that we're not thankful for the structure that we have.
And you know, in all fairness, you know, don't get us wrong. There
Right.
are plenty of days that we do just let the day unfold.
We do.
You know, spending the morning, you know, sometimes we'll make homemade chicken soup.
Yeah,
and,
that's,
you know,
yeah,
or
it takes
do
2 or 3 hours and we're just kind of mindlessly doing it.
or do a sporadic boat ride or
Yeah.
a walk or go visit a friend
Or if the weather's lousy, we'll watch a movie.
Right.
But really, most of the time, our days are pretty well planned out, which is great.
But it
and
does-
sometimes we plan out the movie.
But it does play to flexibility, and that's
Right.
the part of retirement you should be enjoying.
Yeah.
Not this idea that every day is a Saturday. That's the wrong idea.
It is, it
the
is.
right idea is every day is flexible, and
Right.
you can put in it what you want.
You can do what you want to do when you want to do
Right.
it. We hope you guys like this. If you did, please share it with your friends. And also, please subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below.
And finally, join our free Facebook community. There's a lot happening in the community, and we'd hate to have you miss out.
Thank you guys for listening, and we look forward to being with you again soon.